Time. Time is our most precious asset. And unlike other assets, like once you give it away, once you waste it, you can never get it back. I can give away $1,000 and I can earn $1,000 back, or somebody can give me that $1,000 back. But if I give away a day in my life, an hour of time, I can never get that time back. So it's our most precious asset. It's the most precious gift that you can give someone is your time. And it's something that you can never get back. And that's going to be this week's question of the week. People ask me, they're like, Saad, just a little bit about me. I'm Saad Al-Aziz, the owner, head instructor of Semper Fortis Jiu Jitsu here in San Antonio, Texas. I'm 55 years old. I joined the Navy in 1986 as a high school dropout, 10th grade, at the age of 17. And during my 33 years in the Navy, I got my GED, I got my associate's degree, I got my bachelor's degree, and I got my master's degree. And most of that was, with the exception of my master's degree, it was all on my own time, my off-duty military time. So I did that while on active duty. And then in addition, I got a black belt in Hapkido during that time, and I got a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu during that time. In addition, I was a husband, and I raised several children during that time. And people ask me, they're like, how did you do it? Like, how did you find time to do all that and to have that success? You know, how did you make it happen? So I'm here to share the secret of how I made that happen. Don't waste your time. That's the number one key. Don't waste your time because it's a valuable asset. And what we do and what I did in not wasting my time is I cut TV out. So throughout the 90s, the 2000s, there was a number of great TV shows. I never saw them. Never caught one episode of Friends. What was the other? 2.5 Men. Never caught an episode. Or Dr. House. Or I had to look up some other TV shows. Because one of the things, I go to trivia every Wednesday night at Big Papa's Pizza with my friends. And I'm always useless anytime they ask TV show questions. Because I'm like, don't know. So that was the key. I cut the TV out. Because during my generation, and in the current generation also, we spend an inordinate amount of time watching TV. This generation, more so than my generation, their challenge isn't as much TV as it is social media. The inordinate amount of time they spend on social media. They estimate the average person spends 2.5 hours a day on social media. And you think, well, that ain't so bad. Like 2.5 hours a day, I guess, you know. What could you be doing with that 2.5 hours? Well, when you think about 2.5 hours a day, you say, well, there's 30 days in a month, 2.5 hours a day times 30, that's what? 75? Is my math right? Oh, that means 3 full days of every month the average person is spending on social media. And that's not counting what they're spending on TV. I didn't look up the stat how much time people currently spend on TV. Or how much time they spend playing video games. Like I know people that have all night binge watching video games. And then, you know, after 8-9 hours of video games, you know, try to go to work or go to school. But it's like how much time of your life is spent on social media, on TV, on video games, on things that aren't benefiting you. You know, and people always like to say nowadays, they're like, it's not your fault, it's an addiction. It's like, look, man, you are the captain of your ship. You have to make the determination. You control your fate, your destiny. Yes, social media is designed to keep you on the platform. Like if you're not a student of mine at Semper Fortis here in San Antonio, Texas, and you're not a friend or family member, and you're watching this video, that's because YouTube popped this video into your feed because they want you to stay on social media. And they thought, oh, maybe this old dude talking about Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu might interest you enough to stay on social media longer, stay on YouTube longer. Instagram, Snapchat, Facebook, TikTok, they all have the same idea. Twitter, to get you to stay on their platform longer. That's how they make their money. And so it is an addiction. I have family members that I know that the last thing they do at night is stare at their phone as they fall asleep. The first thing they do in the morning when they wake up is look at their phone. And throughout the day, they're staring at their phone. And if you ask them, what are you possibly looking at? Oh, I got a message from so-and-so. Oh, like, it all seems so important. And I've been guilty. Like, I'll log on to social media and be like, let me check this on Facebook. Just for 5 minutes, I'm gonna look at this on Facebook. And then 2 hours later, I'm still on Facebook or on some social media platform. So it's very addictive. Video games are the same way. It's like, man, it's hooking you. Same thing if you watch a TV show. In the 80s, man, everybody loved the show Dallas. And then CBS would have a good show right following Dallas to keep you hooked, to keep you watching. The news does the same thing. So if my advice as a 55-year-old man, and I'm very in tune to time, not just my daily time, but at 55, I realized that the average person in America lives to 78. So I got 23 years left if everything's on average. Maybe less, maybe more. We'll see. So when I think of those 23 years, I don't want to waste any time. I don't want to waste any time looking at my phone and missing my grandson's first steps. That's a bad trade-off. I don't care what Facebook or Instagram is talking about today. Like, that's a bad trade-off. Or time spending with my son rather than playing a video game. Or maybe going to my daughter's dance recital, instead of, watching the latest episode of Friends or whatever the TV shows are today. My day was like Happy Days. I wanted to watch Fonzie, and that was hooking you. So if you're thinking, hey, you hear people all the time, I'd like to go to college, but I just don't have the time. Or I'd like to start my own business, but I just don't have the time. Or I'd like to do martial arts, but I just don't have the time. Or I'd like to be more physically fit, but I just don't have the time to work out. It's like, no, you have the time. It's just you're choosing how you're spending your time. And so that's the social media, TV, your cell phone, video games, those are the low-hanging fruit because you're not getting anything out of it. And so look at the time you spend on that. And if you cut that out, you'll be surprised at how much time you have in your day to do all the things that you've ever wanted to do. And that's my advice for this week. If you got any comments, insights, feel free to write below. If you got a question for next week, fire below. And until then, ciao.